Hi guys, and welcome to On the DL, Dakoda,
Lan,
and we are up to episode 12.
Yeah.
And it's a special one today. We have a very special guest with us, LILEY.
Welcome, Lily.
For those playing at home who don't know who you are, just give us a brief rundown of, where you're at right now and what you've been doing the past few years.
Yeah. So I'm a elite powerlifter, strength coach in Brisbane, recent cancer survivor, and I'm making my way back to an elite level platform.
Yes. What's your best total?
So recently I did a 505 total. Feel like I've got potential to go a little bit more, but yeah, that's my best at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the main reasons, we love your story. And it's been awesome to watch you kind of get back to the platform. We'd love to touch on, kind of what you've been through the last,
cancer journey
little bit.
Is a mofo for anyone.
Yes.
So, when you're an elite powerlifter, it presents some unique challenges, I'm sure.
Just a bit. If you're comfortable to do so, run us through your journey and kind of what you've been through.
Yeah. So March last year, I was prepping for PRORAWGYM. Was it 12? Yeah, 12.
Yeah.
Got cancelled.
Yeah. So I was prepping for that last year. Unfortunately, it got cancelled because of COVID. So Valhalla ran their own little competition, anyways. Just for everyone who's prepped for it, just so we go, anyways. Yeah, which is lovely. So I made the weighed in at 74 kilos. That all really went well. I then tried to do like my refeed and whatnot, and that also didn't go very well. And just the whole day was just a really shit day. So I couldn't stay awake. I couldn't stomach any food. I was throwing up. I was in a lot of pain.
Quick question.
Yeah. I did, but because I was so deep in prep, it was kind of that thing that just kind of got pushed to the side. So I didn't know if, I was having a bit of flank pain, so pain in my stomach and my back. Yeah. But it was kind of, as I said, I was that deep in prep that it kind of just didn't bother me.
Pain is normal.
It was just, that little niggles that you get. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And there was a stage where I think it was 2 weeks out, I was really sick. And I ended up getting a pregnancy test. So
good one to rule out.
It was just that really nauseous, sick feeling. Like I wasn't sick. I just knew that something wasn't right. So this went on for a little while. But it wasn't until the day before competition when I think it was because I had to do a bit of a water cut, and that feeling of just being so dehydrated, like that feeling of being over. And then, so the whole day just was really crappy day. And that night I decided I had to go to the hospital, which was also really hard because I've got competition the next day. I can't go to hospital.
Definitely the right choice for the record, Lily.
Yes. Yeah.
Eventually it was.
Good call.
Yeah. So I was in hospital for a while. I had to go do a urine sample, and this was so freaky because I went to go do a urine sample and I pulled the cup up and it's just full of blood. And I was like, I was like freaking out just because of that. So I went and saw the doctors, and the doctors looked at it straight away and like, oh, you've probably got a UTI. Yeah. So, yes. So they plugged me into put a UV in and gave me some antibiotics for a UTI. So I got treated for that for a few hours. I just got sent home with some endone and just said you should get better overnight.
Endone's great.
So I went home and then
great for pain, not so great for what you went through.
No. Side note.
So went home, tried to get some sleep. I've still got in my head I'm going to compete the next day. With a bit of sleep, I should be fine.
You've definitely got that competitor mentality, don't you? Like, it's when it's on, it's on.
Unless you're dead, you're competing.
Right, my UTI's been treated. I'm on. Right, my UTI's been treated. I'm on tomorrow. Yeah. So, got some sleep, and then 4 a.m. rolled around. Endone had worn off. I woke up in the worst pain. Like, I was in agony. I was just holding my stomach. I was crying. It was so bad. My partner woke up and he's like, all right, get in the car. Like, we've got to go back to the hospital. When I got into the hospital, I was in so much agony. Like, I couldn't even talk to the lady. It was so bad. And so they took me right out the back and did a few more tests. And I think it was maybe the next day I got a scan and it showed that I've had an enlarged kidney.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just thought maybe I had like some sort of infection or yeah, it was hard to say. Yeah, and then a few days later we found out that I had a growth in there. So still early days, we don't really know if it's cancer or a tumor or whatever it could be. It could be a cyst. Yeah, and then fast forward a few other days, like in hospital, still in agony, and then that's when we found out it was cancer.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but when you say it was cancer, it was a 1 kilo mass, wasn't it, that was removed?
Yeah.
That is one hell of a tumour.
Huge.
Yeah. So whole kilo. So it was 12 centimetres. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Insane.
So it worked out to be 3 times the actual size of my kidney.
That's nuts, isn't it? That is insane. It would have
growth.
helped you meet weight had you found out a little bit earlier.
Yeah, you could have just cut that out and good to go.
Probably didn't have to do a water cut.
Not the best trade-off, I would imagine. No. But considering it was your kidney, it makes sense why the water load made the issue more of a problem. So that's probably part of... That's probably a bit of a life-saving situation.
A blessing in disguise.
Yeah, 100%. So if I didn't do that water cut, would I still be here today going, like, would that tumour still be growing?
Yeah, that's right.
How long? Yeah.
Would you have actually done anything about it? God only knows. Hey.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. So after your diagnosis, can I ask what was your first thought after the diagnosis?
See, I don't really know. I think it was more so like cancer doesn't happen to me. Cancer happens to other people. Like, you know, like you never expect that to happen to yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I definitely think
something you hear about.
Yeah, and I think it took a while for it to actually sink in. Just because it was during COVID as well, and there's a lot going on outside as well of the hospital. It took a while to come to terms with it.
I bet it did. That's crazy. And this is going to be a funny question for you. How long did it take before you went from the feeling terrible about the cancer diagnosis to going, what do you mean I can't lift?
I think that was pretty much straight away. It's straight away. Yeah. I think that was the first thing I was thinking about.
Isn't it amazing how much your sport becomes part of your life, though? You know, I see it with a lot of the athletes that I work with. It is such a big part of your life. People underestimate it.
So how long have you been back into lifting now for?
It's been how's it long? Well, I pretty much got started lifting like 2 weeks post my operation.
Of course you did.
So it was so pretty much straight away.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Obviously it was baby steps, but we got there.
Just straight into 200 kilos or?
That's huge though. I think Dak wanted to ask you about that actually. How did it feel going back to?
Yeah, I was curious to know, you know, how did you feel, you know, going back into something that you've been very good at, to go back and just not be at that same level anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely think that was the most heartbreaking thing, because I went from obviously my strongest that I've ever been in my whole life to having it ripped away overnight. So you definitely had to, like, it definitely crossed my mind that I'm never going to even squat 200 kilos again. And I had that long-term goal of squatting, I don't know, like 250, and kind of having that ripped away. And I'm like, I'm probably never going to even squat 200. So you had to kind of create all these little sub goals on the way. So for me, it was start walking again, start running, start doing body weight squats, then maybe introduce some dumbbells, then get back under a barbell, and then working my way up to 100 kilo squat, which 100 kilo squat was the best thing in my life at that time. So you had to keep creating all these little goals. So
did you find that, did it affect your identity at all, do you think?
100%, because and like, I, as an athlete yourselves, so you understand this is my life.
She's an athlete. I'm not. So thank you, Lily. It's sweet.
I was going to say you like yourself, Dak, but I can't do that.
You're an athlete. Anyway, back to your story. It's slightly more interesting.
But yeah, the hardest part is, like, I lost a lot of weight when I was in hospital as well. So to go,
how much did you lose?
Go from 75. It worked out to be roughly 14 kilos in total. So I think my lowest would have been around 62, 63 kilos. Yeah, which I was nothing. Yeah. So I think that was the most heartbreaking thing as well, is to go in your best shape possible, to having it all ripped away just to skin and bone. Yeah. And just not having muscle mass. That's also who I was. Yeah. Which was sad.
I love it.
And I saw you competed, was it the weekend just gone or the previous?
Yeah, the previous.
And how, run us through, I'm really curious as to how, was this prep different to ones that you've done in the past? Did you have, new mental kind of battles to get through, and how did the comp go?
Yeah. So the prep was definitely a lot different. Instead of deloading every 4 to 6 weeks, we had to do every second week or every 2 weeks, which that in itself was pretty hard, because I go from pushing myself so hard all the time to having to pull it back all the time. So we just go on how I'm feeling. I know that I've got poor kidney function. If I'm feeling like really tired and run down, then that's when we have to make the call to kind of bring it back. So we deloaded every 2 weeks. Brendan, my coach, he had to kind of bring back the volume really early as well. And then if I've pushed myself a bit too hard, then he'll also bring me back a little bit more as well. And then
did that mean you had to focus a bit more on your nutrition, or look at your nutrition from a different perspective for this prep?
Yeah, it's been pretty much the same since I was got my kidney out. I didn't really I didn't have to change it too much during the prep. But yeah, I guess we can touch on that a bit later, like the nutritional changes that I had to make.
You were going through how you were having to deload every second or every third week just to be able to get through it, and that was a challenge in itself.
Yeah, it was only a challenge in itself, only because, I don't know, I want more out of every single session. And absolutely. But that was hard, but I knew that that's what I had to do. And to know that you can still get stronger with that many deloads, that was pretty cool to kind of test myself as well. But I made it to the competition in one piece.
Winning.
Thank God. Thank God.
Yep. So last year I prepped for a competition, which was also going to be my first competition back. That was in October last year. We didn't. I think that's why we started doing these deloads, because in that competition, once I made it to the actual comp day, I burnt out. And I've just got to constantly remind myself that I've got a new body. I can't handle it how I used to. And obviously with weight training and whatnot, we create a lot more waste product that has to get filtered through the kidney. And with poor kidney function, I just can't handle it.
Yeah, for sure. And your immune system would have still been compromised for a fair while after that as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's all just been like a big learning curve as I go.
Yeah. Completely different.
You wanted to ask about how she felt about her performance on the day.
Yes, How did the day itself go, and how do you, are you proud of, your performance on the day? How did you find the whole competition itself really coming back from all of this and finally getting back to the platform when you didn't even think you could?
Yeah. So it was definitely not my best performance. So I went in with, you kind of get numbers stuck in your head, which I just, I definitely know that I'm capable of a better performance. So it kind of did run me down, but nonetheless, I was proud to even make it back to the platform.
You should be.
So I did a 210 squat, which I only got one of my attempts.
Was it just like lights, or was it just why only one?
So I stuffed up my opener.
Been there.
Always the worst.
Stuffed up my. I've seen you duck. Oh. What was that, Wildcats?
Heartbreaking.
Man, I felt for you.
I was there for that one.
Yes. It's just so scary when you fail the opener, because you're like, okay, cool, so I'm going to bomb now.
Because that is normally where you get your confidence from, right? Like, once you hit that number, you're like, all right, at least I've got that.
Sets the tone for the day.
Yep. So I think that threw me off. So I went into my second one. That was really good. And I think I just made that big of a jump for my third. I went straight to 227 so I could secure a 500-pound squat.
Okay.
But I just went into it. I was looking back at the videos. It just wasn't my squat. I just didn't set up properly. It was just, I don't know if I had just so much going on in my head that, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. Like, I've made it. Like, it was a very, I let like my emotions and stuff get to me, which I don't know.
That would have had to have been. That would have had to have been an incredibly emotionally draining day, though. Good, like even the strongest of the strong would be impacted by that, because it's such a road. Like, you've gone from feeling like you'll never be able to squat the bar again to getting on the platform again. That's huge.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it's pretty much the same thing happened with my bench. I only got my opener and then failed the next two. And then, so I ended with a 95 kilo bench press. I attempted 100 kilos. I got it up, but we had a million bar dips on the way.
Somehow it still feels better that it goes up, doesn't it? It doesn't matter if it's red lights, it still feels better.
I got it up.
Still counts.
So I know I'm capable of doing it. But and then by the time I got to deadlifts, I just took my headphones out and I'm like, okay, stop being serious, just go out and have fun. And, and I did. I had deadlifts went really well. So I ended up with a 200 kilo deadlift. So I haven't done that in competition yet. So I was pretty pumped about that.
That. So there's one PB for sure.
That
is brilliant. And what are the plans moving forward in terms of your lifting?
So I'm 15 weeks out from Battlegrounds. So that one's down in Sydney. So that's another elite one, which I haven't done yet. I think it's a new competition.
I think it'll be really good for growing the sport.
100%.
What about the comp makes you think that?
It's because they're kind of getting everyone from different federations. And I think the money is a huge driver for people. I mean, as bad as that sounds, it's true. Powerlifting doesn't pay. Powerlifting doesn't pay.
It's true.
I think they're promoting it really well, and they're just going from they're just grabbing everyone they think is going to put on a really good show, and I think it'll be really good to watch. What
expectations have you put on yourself for this one?
I don't know. just need to redo my last comp, but obviously better. So let's say, my 210 squat opener that I did last weekend, I actually failed on depth as well. Which 210, I feel like I've never really failed with depth. Like it's a easy squat for me.
Yeah.
So we started a new block of training today. And then Brendan's just got me doing tight reps right from the beginning, but sinking every single rep. Obviously I should be doing that already, but as soon as I crank the reps on and go really, really tight, that's when I start to fail with depth. So we did that today. We just hit 175 for 5 reps, but just made sure we sunk every single rep. And then I think we've got the idea of we're not going to increase the weight. I've got to earn it with depth. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's all I want. I just want a big squat. Yeah. I just want, that's all I want.
It's what you're known for.
I love that you don't think that's a big squat.
Bigger.
Yeah, bigger.
I really need to pick up my game.
300, let's go. All right.
Yeah, aim big.
In terms of all of your treatment, lovely, is there anything that you're finding that you have to do significantly differently nowadays, just in day-to-day life, after the removal, after the surgery, after everything? I'm guessing hydration would be very important for you.
Water for you. Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, so water's huge, and I can definitely feel when I'm dehydrated now. So 8 liters of water is pretty much my new minimum.
Yeah,
but it's not even hard to get it in because I'm always thirsty. Like I've always got a dry mouth. Yeah, so it makes it a lot easier. I've got a few nutritional changes. So we've had to change my source of protein because obviously protein's a big one with kidney health. So we've had to. So I caught up with a renal dietitian. And I said, how am I going to stay on a high protein diet? Because obviously being an athlete, that's kind of what I need. So we kind of worked out a plan along with a lot of blood tests and stuff on the way. But he just wants me to change the source of protein, so to a less harsh source of protein. So we've just cut out red meat completely, and I'm just eating chicken, fish, plants at the moment.
So they're just aiming for a lower nitrogen content there, by the sounds of it.
Basically. So we're doing a blood test every 4 weeks and just kind of watching my my kidney levels and whatnot as well. And it's going pretty good. But he did suggest even trying to do like plants only, like a plant.
It's definitely going to be fun for someone who lifts like you.
To give it a go at one stage.
It's doable.
I mean, it's easier in this day and age, I think.
It is, but it's
no, it definitely is.
Still quite challenging.
You know what? It's just a lot of food. So because the volume of those sources of protein, the volumes that you have to eat are just so much bigger. I've worked with many vegan athletes, and I have no issue working with vegan athletes. They just have to know that they're going to be eating a lot and very frequently.
Which I'm fine with, but I don't like change. Like I'm happy eating what I'm eating.
Do a slow trade out. So just trade one meat source of protein for one vegan source of protein, and slowly but surely you can work to a good ratio. But honestly, if your bloods are not reflecting the need for the change, you may be able to get to a good little 60-40 ratio and be able to hold there and stay healthy the whole time. It sounds like the dietitian you're working with is really good because they're being responsive to you, not just forcing you to go the way they would normally force someone to go post-surgery. So that's awesome. It's nice when that happens.
Absolutely. He's been really cool to work with.
That's brilliant. That's so exciting. Well, I think I've asked all the questions that I can ask Lily, so did you have anything else you wanted to cover, or Lily, did you have anything that you wanted to cover?
I guess do you have, I guess, anything to, say to, anyone who does go through something traumatic that, maybe changes their whole entire life, do you have, I guess, do you have anything to say, to them, I guess, as a, motivational speech?
No pressure or anything.
It better be good.
Oh wow, I'm on the spot now.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. No, I think the biggest thing that I kind of learnt from all of this is lose that mentality of starting on Monday. You don't know how many Mondays you've got left.
Yeah,
that's very true. That is
really
good.
Get started on work straight away.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I reckon that's a pretty good place to end this thing.
Yeah, that's a pretty good ending right there.
Stop putting off till tomorrow what you can do today. Hey?
Yes,
Exactly.
That's awesome. All right, well, Lily, thank you so much for joining us. We'll let out, if any of our followers want to pop questions down there, we can email them through to Lily, and I'm sure she'll be happy to answer them.
Yes, hopefully.
We just keep throwing you under the bus today, Lily.
But yeah, we'll chuck her details in our post. And if you have any questions, definitely shoot them through. And thank you very much for watching, guys.
Thanks so much, and thanks for sharing your story.
Yes. Thanks for having me, girls. Appreciate it.
Champion.